All right, so we are making a mock scrape setup. I like to call them traps. Like setting off of these traps in the summer, fall, and put cameras on them. You're gonna get good pictures of bucks. Big misconception is that bucks don't use scrapes during the summer. Again, that is a misconception. So, wanted to walk you through this. I think it's gonna be a really good trail camera spot. So a lot of these deer come out kind of towards the back of this. This is our corn that we planted this year, and we're gonna have some green out here as well, kind of mixed within the corn where the corn didn't grow real well. But what I could see a buck doing, especially during the rut, west wind is good for our blind behind us, blowing this way. So if you think about a buck walking down this edge, anything that's in this corn, anything out here, he can scent check it, he can smell it. And bucks like to use this edge naturally. There's quite a few overhanging branches for scrapes already. So that's what we're gonna try to capitalize on, is this edge. And a lot of times, they're either gonna come out and hit that, or a lot of times they'll keep moving through this woods and go out to the ag fields. So what I think is gonna make this good, big part of trail cameras these days, especially the cell cams, making sure cameras are hidden high in the tree, hidden the best you can, not right on top of the trail, right? So these deer come down this edge. I'll go ahead and show them where that camera is real quick. Up in that tree. So these deer, think about a deer coming down this edge. Right? Deer coming down this edge. Say he's gonna hit the scrape or even just continue on either way. As he walks this way, the camera's already almost behind him. Right? So he's squared up in the frame, but to see that camera, he's gonna have to really turn and look up there. And obviously deer are gonna look that direction, but it's pretty high up there, and I put it right off that crotch. So it's about as good as you can get it, I feel like. I wish it were a little closer, but I'd rather have it a little far like that than a little too close. So yeah, come around, obviously, hopefully hit the scrape so you get a couple pictures of them, and then continue on their way. And then in the mornings, they tend to come from the ag and coming back this way to bed. So coming through this woods, hit the scrape, or even just coming out of the trail that's already here and right on their way. Same thing, they kind of come around this corner. Right, if they come out this, hit the scrape, whatever, like they're really gonna have to turn 90 degrees and look directly at that camera to really see it. I don't really anticipate having any bucks back here that I'm gonna wanna shoot this year, but you never know. So I'm just gonna put an SD puller on it for now, because obviously you can drive the side-by-side right in here down the edge of the corn, literally drive right up to it, not have to walk on all this, check your card. If I do have a buck back here showing up that I wanna shoot, switch it out to a cell cam. So cool little, again, it's a trap. And right here is probably 40 yards from the blind. We're gonna put another mock scrape down in this corner that's probably like 28 yards from the blind. So as you can see the blind there, we kind of tucked it in good and got this nice barrier of corn, but then it's gonna be green right out in front of it. So kind of changed up our strategy on what we're gonna do with the blind. Since this corn didn't grow right here, it was too wet earlier on. We're gonna put the green here, back the blind all the way up. It makes the access better. Just you're a little further away from where they like to come out. So hopefully they come through the corn or down this edge, hit the green in front of you, shoot them out of the blind in the food plot. But I could also see a buck coming straight down this edge and wanting to come right through here. Whether it's in the rut or not, it doesn't really matter, but should still be able to get a shot if that happens. But ideally, they come out into the plot and check it. So one of the many, many traps that we will set over the next month or two, and even into October, to try to get trail camera pics of bucks on scrapes. Not being able to bait here in Michigan, that is my number one thing. Out of like probably 20 trail cameras I run, probably 16 of them, maybe 17 of them are on scrapes. So that's how much confidence I have in them. And the thing is, again, just keeping the camera back so you don't spook the deer. You're probably still going to spook deer a little bit with a trail camera, but it is what it is. So yeah, scrapes are deadly. That's really all there is to it. And making good little traps like this within bow range and where you can have a camera on them, also very deadly. Good way to get pictures of bucks. All right, one thing I forgot to mention, my good friend Andrew Wood with Woods Habitat Consulting. I think that's the name of his business, something like that. Um, sorry, I'm looking right into the sun here. He gave me a really good suggestion a couple years ago. He's actually planted this plot for me in the past, and it's just a bit of a far drive for him and stuff. So I had another guy do it, but Andrew does a phenomenal job. And he's a really good deer hunter. He shot some really big bucks in his life, and especially over the last like 5-10 years. His property is set up super well. Really good hunter. Anyways, one thing that he does on his property that I have picked up on as well, that he taught me to do, just taking like some paracord, tie it to the branch and pull it down to get it to the height where you want it to be for the deer. This branch was too high, but I pulled it, and I just tied it to this little sapling here. He uses ground stakes, you know, so if you have some ground stakes, pull that branch down, tie the rope to it, because obviously you don't want that branch too high. So this should be a pretty decent scrape. Not an ideal tree selection for it, but nonetheless, should get some pictures over it at least this summer and going into fall too. And again, it's already a really good, you know, travel route in general, you know, down the edge of some corn. You know, what buck isn't going to walk down the edge of corn? But anyways, another little tip there. Another trap, another scrape. This branch was up as high as these other branches. Same thing, paracord, pulled it down to the ground. 30 deer trail that comes out right here. All this up here is bedding. Deer come out of there. This little food plot used to be like a 1 acre food plot. Farmers tore down this, there was like a barrier, like a hill. They tore that down so they could plant it, took away from it, which whatever, they gotta do what they gotta do. So it's a small plot. It doesn't really grow real great down in this bottom part because it stays wet. So we just planted clover in it. Should do better than the turnips and the radishes with it being wet. But pulled that scrape tree down. So there's a scrape here. Turn this way. Super easy access to hunt this in the evening. And pretty easy to get out of too. Slip up into that tree. There's a stand there. It's an awesome tree stand spot. Because you got that big one and you can hide right behind it. You're tucked right in there. I've probably been picked out of that tree like one time out of the like 15 times I've hunted it over a few years. I probably only hunt that tree once or twice a year, maybe, you know. It's just one if the conditions are right. I mean, just you need anything out of the west is good. You know, so if it has quite a bit of south in it, but it's still southwest, and I can't hunt a couple of spots over here, I'll come sit here because they do come around the edge of these there's a big cattail thing right here around behind Allison. And I don't know, they're a different kind of cattail. They're super thick, the deer don't walk through them. So sometimes they will come around here, especially having some food here makes it so they do. When this was a 1 acre food plot, this thing was dynamite, especially late season. It was really good. But yeah, they don't go through there really. They come around the end of it. So if I can have some clover here before they go to the corn, obviously that's, you know, that's the game plan with this one. Scrape, food. There's no good trail camera tree on this scrape, so I've got one in this tree right over here. So usually when they come out here, they'll hit this, hit scrape, whatever they do, and then they'll go between that tree and these cattails and right out. So it's a little bit of a pinch point between this little guy for them to get out. So I mean, it's not a great camera location, but I do get a lot of buck pictures right there. So this is another little spot too. It's very overlooked. Like when I first started hunting here, we're in the very front of the property. I went straight to the back because that's where, you know, it looks really good, right? And I'll say last year, and that's where trail cameras come into play too. You know, knowing, so basically there's a creek that runs. It's a wide, kind of more of a ditch that runs like halfway through the property, east or west to east, east, west, whatever. And a lot of times I've found that certain deer will live on this side of the creek. Not saying they don't cross, because obviously they do, but they'll spend the majority of their time towards the front, or they'll spend the majority of their time towards the back. And the 2 bucks I was hunting here last year, only had them in the front. I had a picture of Peggy in the 4 years I had him on camera and knew him. As a 2-year-old, he was back there a little bit, but after that, I could probably say maybe 2 times he was on the other side of that creek that I got a picture. The rest was right up here in the front. The buck I killed last year, out of 3 years of having trail cam photos of him, never had a picture of him in the back. ever. Not one. I got one of them crossing the ditch, the bridge to it. I did have one of them crossing that. So obviously he probably would go back there sometimes, but that was when he was a 2-year-old. Never had a picture of him on that bridge again. Never had a picture of him in the back. Got a lot of pictures of him up here. This is where I killed him, right up here in the front, you know. So that's where having the trail cameras help you kind of, because there's so much cover, not just on this property, but in this section. So it's hard to break it down without trail cameras. So that's more what I'm using them for, just kind of learning what areas they want to, that they frequent or live in the majority of the time. And then I've got stands in each of those areas. Not all of them have a trail camera by them, but, you know, different stands for different winds, you know, just going off of, you know, where I think that deer is going to be in what area, essentially. So this is just another little trap. Like I said, I'll hunt this once or maybe twice, unless I got one using them a lot, you know what I mean? But really easy to get in and out of. Great little evening hunt spot. Probably might never shoot a buck out of it, but I've had, like the buck I shot last year, and Peggy, and other bucks I've had in the past. I've had them right here, right in the front. I mean, the farm's just on the other side of this corn, right? I've had them right here in daylight, you know, quite a few times. So if I'd been sitting in that stand, 25-yard bow shot, you know, so just a timing thing, getting lucky being there, you know, when it happens. But I don't know, it's fun stuff. So what do you think, Al? You just taking it all in?
Yeah, I'm just taking it all in. Yeah. Driving the side-by-side around, getting some of that worked in. And
yeah. We're getting her all muddy tonight.
Yep, that's what she's for. So it's all good.
Got the big old mud tires. I tried getting it stuck earlier.
He did, and it scared me. But he swears everything's going to be fine, so I trust him.
It's got a winch.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So
we'll get out. But yeah, just taking it in and learning the property a little bit more with Shane. So it's been fun.
Becoming
and dirty.
My little deer hunter.
Okay. Yeah.
Last trap of the night. Like I said, last year, we're still up in the front of the property. Last year, this, you know, the front was where the two big ones were living. Peggy and then the one I killed. I got so many pictures of both of them right here, and it makes a lot of sense. Tacticam getting switched out with a WiseEye. I wish there was a better spot for the camera itself, but they don't seem to mind it there. I mean, it's a little open for my liking, but there's nowhere else to put it. So it's kind of where it has to go. There's a trail going right through here. They don't use it a ton, but they do use it. Let's flip-flop spots here, Al. This scrape is insane. They use this a lot during daylight, night, doesn't matter. See all the cattails behind us? It's all bedding, you know, just all through here. And this little trail here is like right where it comes up out of the swamp. You know, it's kind of almost like a mini little ridge where it comes up out of the swamp, and it just, there's trails running right down it that just kind of branch off into the bedding. And then they come out of the bedding, and this is like the first good scrape that they can hit, and they hit it a lot. Summer, fall, winter, everything. I mean, you can see there's old, you know, an old rub here, tine marks and stuff. They just, you know, hit the ends of these. There was a couple bigger branches coming out, but they broke them off. But yeah, we'll put a couple of the pictures because they're pretty freaking cool of some of the big bucks we've had on the scrape. You can see there's a really good trail coming out of the cattails here. Boom, pops up right here. Getting a picture. They're probably gonna hit the scrape real quick. But yeah, this is just right outside the bedding. I mean, you can't get much better. They bed in here too, really. Obviously it's thick. But right on the other side of this, we got a little mini food plot we're adding this year. And then you go further out and it's the corn again. So that's right in the front where I killed my buck last year. So another trap. It's a scrape with a trail camera and a really good spot. Thing I'll say about this little spot is it's kind of an area here that's pretty good. It's pretty thick. It took me like 2-3 years of moving cameras around in here to really dial in this one little spot. And now that it's here and I've seen the pictures, like, makes a lot more sense, right? But there's some really good trails on the other side of this thing. Had a scrape tree over there, and I get some bucks, but not as many as right here. And that's the thing, like, if you turn around now, like I said, like, it's not a huge scrape. And this is going from last year. They've still been using it. There's some hoof marks in it right now, but it's not like a huge scrape, right? So you walk in here, oh, that's a scrape, you know, and you look at it, it doesn't look real crazy. It looks like a couple old rubs, but I just was like, let's throw a camera on this thing, see really what's going on here. And as soon as I did, I really started getting more buck pictures. And, you know, now that you think about it a little bit more, makes total sense. So I just maintain this a little bit. Like, this trail gets super thick, a lot of growth. So every year I just kind of come in and just open it up just enough. You know, I'm not trying to brush hog a lane through here. You know, this is a buck trail. This is tight, what they want, cover on each side. They feel safe, super secluded. That's why they come in here in daylight. And it's right out of the bedding. So, yeah, really good spot. I guess what I'm getting at, don't be afraid to move things around and try to really figure something out. I always think a good tactic is, especially if you have a lot of cameras, is put like 4 or 5 cameras in a pretty small area. I've got a food plot I did that on. I put 3 cameras on it and like waited 2 or 3 weeks, see which one got the most pictures, and then I took the other 2 out of there. That would have been a good thing to do with this area right here, because it would have narrowed it down a heck of a lot quicker. So don't be afraid to move your stuff or do that. So just make sure your cameras are high and hidden.